Greetings. This is Wretched from Grave Robber. You are listening to Breakdowns for Breakfast.
Good morning. Welcome back to another episode of Breakdowns for Breakfast. I am your host, Danger, and joining me is a fellow that I cannot properly break down an album without your co-host, Monster. Say hi, Monster.
Yo, good morning. How are you?
Oh, I'm fine. How are you?
I am good. I'm a little tired because I have been dancing a lot tonight. I went out with the family and then we were just hanging out and I saw this jukebox that I just started juicing up with coins and I started dancing and I was looking around. I saw my buddies. There was Roger and David and Gavin and we were just dancing. It was a good time. What did you do today?
Oh, I didn't dance, but I did put together notes on tonight's episode, which we are here to talk about. The album from Dance Gavin Dance. Their album, Jackpot Juicer, that came out July 29th, 2022. Now, this was a request that came in from a gentleman named 13 Pirates. I assume it's a gentleman based off of Instagram profile.
I would assume it's 13 different people.
Yes, it's 13 people. Maybe this person struggles with his different pirate personalities. I don't know.
You know what? I'm going to assume that's why we've gotten a few more listens over the past couple days, because there is a group of pirates in the number 13 that have been listening to episodes.
Yes, so we are really popular with pirates, but also, okay, so this person, I didn't find their real name on Instagram, so that's fine. I mean, we did 2 episodes calling somebody by the wrong name.
We're not trying to dox people.
No, Mr. 13 Pirates. According to your profile on Instagram, you paint, and they look good. They're decent paintings. But you also have some tattoo designs that are really good. You seem to specialize in script, if I was seeing things correctly. Cool. But according to your profile, or according to the message you sent us, you work at a Midwest factory pushing steel. So I guess we're popular with the steel workers.
Ooh, this is probably, I shouldn't say this, but every time I think of the steel workers, all I can think about is that episode of The Simpsons where Homer's trying to keep Bart from going gay. So he tries to take him to all these manly things. So he takes him to a steel mill where they're all gay. And they're like, he's like, there's parts where these like big dudes are like without their shirts on or carrying something like hot stuff, come and throw. I'm sure 13 Pirates does not, and if he does, good for him. Who cares?
I did not get a feeling on if 13 Pirates likes The Simpsons.
And that's what I was referring to, yes.
Yeah, his sexual proclivities are neither here nor there and do not have any bearing on our opinion of this album. So anyway, enough about your
what a turn we have
okay.
taken.
Really early, too.
We're off to a riveting start.
Anyway, all right. Now, I have a little bit of an understanding from the little bits that you've given me, but where are you on this album?
So, I wanted to ask before I say too much, when our buddy 13 Pirates here requested this album, what did he say? I remember you like told me, but I can't remember. Did he specifically say like, I just want to hear your opinions on this, or this is one of my favorite bands, I'd love to hear you do an episode on it? Let me get a little bit of clarification before I first respond.
Okay, so what he said was, hello, just to start, love the show. Thanks, 13 Pirates, do appreciate that. It truly helps me get my mind off the long hours at a Midwest factory rat pushing steel. As a Midwest factory rat pushing steel. Sorry, 13 Pirates, I can't read evidently. And if you're pushing steel, you should probably have your mind in it. Just going to say. That being said, I'd love to hear your breakdown on Dance Gavin Dance, Jackpot Juicer.
Okay.
Asking Alexandra.
No, you gotta read all the other ones. You don't have to read all the other ones.
Okay. All right.
Well, just save it for
actually,
later.
no, I do. Because he said, mindless self-indulgence, you'll rebel against anything. And then in parentheses, he puts, because Monster has to have his new metal.
Yes, and I remember we discussed this because I really did want to do that one because we've talked about it on the show before. We listen to so much music. It's hard to really call anything a quote-unquote guilty pleasure. But if I had one, it would probably have to be Mindless Self-Indulgence because it's a pretty problematic band at this point. But
Phil from Philly, whose name is not Phil and he's not from Philly, but Phil from Philly gave us several suggestions, several requests, and you picked that Relative Ash album that was dog shit. And so I was like, you know what? No, we're not doing a Mindless Self-Indulgence. You're not getting a pick. We're doing what I'm going to pick. And to be honest with you, after listening to this, I'd rather have done the Mindless Self-Indulgence album.
Right? Okay, so 13 Pirates, Danger, you asked what my feelings were on this. This is a hot, long mess. I
would not say it's a hot, long mess. I would say it's long, and I wouldn't say it's a hot mess, but
it is.
This is much more in my lane than yours. So.
Well, okay, so here's the thing. I think these guys are stupid talented. This is going to be very similar to my feelings on A Marionette, my feelings on I Am Abomination. I think these guys are extremely talented, and every song starts to sound the same, and there's pretty much an exact moment in every single song where I start to like it. It was rough, man. Honestly, it was one of those things that I have listened to this album from start to finish at least 5 times, and I have listened to, tracks 13 through 18 at one point, and then tracks 1 through 8 at one point, and then 12. I've jumped all over the place.
Right.
Because I do not think track order makes any difference because all these songs sound 90% the same to me. And they just, at a certain point, they all just start to run together. So, little peek behind the curtain, I warned Danger that I might have to pause periodically before I answer his questions. Don't worry, I'll clean that up in editing so you don't have to sit through it. Because if he tells me at 1:25 on this song blank happens, I'm probably not going to remember because there's 18 of these songs and they all do the same shit.
Yeah, there are a couple places where I do point out a timestamp on something that happened, but I really didn't do that on a lot of these because there are 18 of them. And, we have talked about long albums plenty of times. We've done long albums. I don't know if we've done an 18-track album.
Transistor by 311 was 21, but some of those songs were very short.
Right, but some of those songs were not even a minute and a half. I mean, some of those songs were ridiculously short, but all of these songs are 3 minutes long. I've got the times of each song, and I'm not going to go through all those right now, but yeah, okay. So this is their 10th album, and it is their longest to date.
Wow, 10 albums. Wow.
Yeah, right. And now within those 10 albums, they have had many different singers. Some of the singers, we have also covered albums with those same singers, and we've talked about those same singers. But, this just leads into the incestual nature of this entire music scene that we've talked about plenty of times in the past. Johnny Craig was the singer of this band at one point.
Oh, God. Okay. So I knew that. What I will say is I do think Tillian is fantastic. And
I love Tillian's voice. In fact, Tillian's put out a couple solo albums that are great albums.
I've listened to more of his solo stuff than I have Dance Gavin Dance. And I actually, I think he is I don't want to say the only thing I like about this album, but he was the one thing that made me like, okay, I can keep listening because dude's got some killer chops. Plus, the thing I like about his voice so much, we've talked about Johnny Craig a lot on this show. The dude has an amazing voice, but it is like you could see him right up there with Joey Fatone and Nick Lachey. Like he's got a very boy band worship pop singer vocal. Tillian has some of that, but he also is super unique and has his own flavor.
Right. And what I like about Tillian's voice is it's almost got like a raspiness to it at all times. And I think it gives it a really cool tone. Okay. So something I do want to kind of dive into or mention, let's put it that way. Okay. So this was released July 29th. On December 30th, they released an instrumental version of this, which I would be very curious to go and hear, because I actually found that one of the things that, and okay, you and I have not shied away from bands with harsh vocals, unclean vocals at all. We love a good scream. Oh, yeah. Actually, I think it was Silent Planet. Yeah, sorry, I had trouble coming up with the name there. But yeah, it was Silent Planet. They released a video on Instagram or something where the cops were called because Garrett was screaming so much. And it's like, we covered one of their albums on the show and we love that album. But I'm going to be honest with you, John Mess, who does the unclean vocals, I do feel like he is a bit misplaced at times. And not at times, a lot of times. I think he's got a great scream, a great harsh vocal, unclean vocal, but he just, I don't know, when you've got a vocalist like Tillian, you better place John Mess in better places.
Here's what I wrote down. I wrote, this is another band that has one great singer and then another guy that's just there to scream, and I'm not sure why. I said it reminded me of the Bunny the Bear thing. It reminded me of Issues, and I liked them better after Michael Bond was gone. It reminded me, obviously this is more my world than anything like that, but Lacuna Coil. It always bothered me that you had Christina Scabia, who is so good and powerful, but then you had to have that other dude with his like rah 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 voice. Like, shut up, just let her sing. Like, I don't understand. It almost feels like Mess is there.
Mess is there to make a mess.
Yeah, I made that same joke later. He's just, it doesn't add anything for me. There's one time where he does something different than what he normally does, and I'm like, okay with it. But there's some parts where he is screaming and it's like the lyrics are weird. The way he's screaming is off-putting. It's like, stop. Like, I don't know why he's there. It bothers me.
Okay, so I think, John Mess does a good job at what he does. I just think that it's almost like because he is also a member of the band, they feel like he needs to do more than just kind of minimal output. And fine, okay, but at the same time, there's times where he is doing his thing. And I think I know where you're talking about, where he does something different, where he actually doesn't scream. He actually does some clean vocals, and that's fine. I actually really like his clean vocals, but I do like the way he does his unclean vocals at times, but it's when he's got a very different rhythm and he's not just screaming lyrics to scream lyrics. And
right.
I think it's fun. And the thing about it going into this is I have never listened to a full Dance Gavin Dance album. I've picked and chosen different tracks, and I've liked Dance Gavin Dance. This will kind of lead into the next part. So, all right, this album kind of, I don't know, was a crazy time in their history as a band. And I'm going to circle back around on what I was just saying just a second. All right. So, the album was released, in July, but so Tillian in June, Tillian had some, allegations coming against Tillian got Me Too'd as well.
Oh, and, no, I didn't even know that.
Yeah. So Tillian got Me Too'd, and, he was dismissed from the band in June. And so it was like right before the album was released. And the thing about it is they were actually they were announced to go on tour with Coheed and Cambria for the Window of the Waking Mind tour. And Mrs. Danger and I saw that they were, co-headlining, I guess, with, Coheed and Cambria, and we bought tickets like right away. We were like, this would be a lot of fun. And then that happened. And I forget when the tour was, when we actually saw them, when the show was, but they were replaced by Alkaline Trio. Now, don't get me wrong, I like Alkaline Trio, but...
Yeah, but if you're expecting Dance Gavin Dance, that's a bit of a different vibe.
Right. And it was kind of funny when we went because people were walking around in Dance Gavin Dance shirts.
Oh, I bet.
It was like, It's like, I have a thing about, as as I mentioned on the show before, that I have a thing about when people wear the band of the shirt, or the shirt of the band that's playing, but when you wear the shirt of the band that's supposed to play, fine, I don't care.
Yeah, that's kind of a fun little middle finger, I guess.
Right. I mean, Coheed did a great job, as you know, I'm a huge Coheed fan, so,
Sure.
All right. So he rejoined in November, and then he actually left the band for good shortly after that. Yeah, I don't know, it was, I don't know. Within the whole Me Too movement, yes, there were tons and tons and tons of allegations that were spot on, that were right, that should have been brought up, but I feel like Tillian, along with, like Aziz Ansari and a few other people, like, kind of just got wrapped up in somebody making an allegation against them about something that really was more on the other person, or the expectations, or more of, I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know anything about his situation, so I definitely won't try to chime in on that in any way. But I also know that, yeah, it's one of those things where you try to take the moral high ground and assume people are telling the truth. But once you put yourself in a position of power where people can take advantage of you, sometimes that happens too. So I don't know in his particular case which way it went. However, I am looking at the previous members and past members list on Wikipedia, and yeah, this is wild. And I had no idea it was like this at all. And I also didn't know that Kurt Travis was in Dance Gavin Dance at one point. I like him.
He was. I know you do. And I forget what album. I think it was the Andreas album where his name came up. You're like, I like him. And I was like, I know him from lots of places, but
yeah, I did not know that he was in Dance Gavin Dance at any point. But yeah, his project Gold Necklace is really, really good.
I'm going to come back around to Gold Necklace.
It's one of the guitar players from Dance Gavin Dance, right?
Okay. So Will Swan, not Gold Necklace, like they've done some stuff with each other. So he's on guitar. He has another band, and I had the note of it, but then as I was kind of going through and cleaning notes up, I think I actually deleted it. Sorry. He's in another band that actually went on tour with Dance Gavin Dance, and I was like, that's it kind of seems like
Royal Coda. That's the band with Kurt Travis. Right. Okay, got it.
Yep.
Yeah, I think I did listen to them, and I didn't like quite the music as much. I'm more of, like I said, if you know anything about it, Gold Necklace is a little bit more dancey. It's not, I mean, I guess you would still call it that whole quote unquote post-hardcore, or as I like to call it, Jonas Brothers on steroids, but it just has a little bit more of like a jazz kind of feel, more so than something like this with all the screaming and stuff.
Well, it's funny because I point out several times in here that I feel like the guitar work has a very jazzy feel to it.
It does, but it has that very specific style of technical, djenty, jazzy kind of stuff that is incredible. And as a guitar player, it's leaps and bounds above what my fingers can do. But it's also the kind of thing that can get a little bit monotonous if it's used exclusively. And there's a lot of parts on this album where I think if they would just lock in a little bit, if they would just play some chords a little bit, it would give, a little bit more room to breathe. But very rarely do that. And they do that thing that kind of drives me nuts where they play like pretty music while the dude screams on top of it. But what makes it funny here is it's like kind of pretty music, but it's still those like and he's just rah, 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 rah on top of it. And it's like, this is just noise at a certain point. Like, and it's not like chaotic, dissonant, angry noise like Norma Jean or The Chariot, where it almost, I don't want to say it makes sense. I don't really like those bands either, but it's sort of like when the music is that heavy and you're doing that, it's sort of like, I kind of get what you're going for. But in a situation like this, I don't get it. When Tillian's singing, I get it. Like, that makes perfect sense. But when Mess starts screaming on top of it, I'm like, stop it.
All right, so then we got Andrew Wells on guitar, and he plays guitar on 1 through 16 and then 18. He does clean vocals on 5, 8, 15, 17, and 18.
Okay.
And then just regular background vocals on 7, 9 through 14, and 16. Now, Andrew Wells this is the first album to feature him as an official member since he joined as a touring guitarist in 2015. And with the addition to him, this is the first time that they have been a sextet, I think it is, with
Gotcha.
6 members. Yeah. So, and then Tim Feerick on bass. And on April 14th, 2022, the band released a statement saying that he died the night before.
Oh.
And Feerick's death was later reported as suspected fentanyl overdose.
Oh.
He was 34. Yep.
This is getting worse and worse.
Yeah, but I've got theories on things. So all right, then we got Matt Mingus on drums. The album came out in July. Tim died April 14th. And the recording of the album was between April and July 2021. So yeah, they kind of went in to record it with carrying the weight of him dying. That's rough. Okay, so It was produced by Chris Crummett, and it was recorded at Interlace Audio in Portland, Oregon. Now, Chris Crummett, are you ready for the list of who he's worked with?
Sure.
Chiodos, the Callous Doughboys. Doughboys? Yeah.
Yeah, the Callous Doughboys.
Okay. Cheem, Gold Necklace.
Hey!
Yep. Gold Necklace, Knuckle Puck, Crown the Empire, Broadside, Fame on Fire, Currents, Capstain, Issues.
I appreciate you pausing there.
Yeah.
Well, I felt like I was being rude, getting excited, so I was just going to let you finish.
Like, I'm just waiting for you not to be rude. Anyway, Cane Hill, Palisades, The Story So Far, Tyler Carter, Slaves, Further Seems Forever, Emarosa, Closure in Moscow, and so many more. Just so many more. And he's done many albums for a lot of those people. So I think he did both of Tyler Carter's solo albums. He's kind of a go-to guy for mixing, mastering, and producing this genre of music. Yeah. So, do you want to give your hey now that I'm done with For Issues?
Oh, yeah. Woo!
All right. So, I feel like that they went into the recording studio ready to go with material that had already been written, and then their bass player dies, and then they go on with recording this album. And I'm pretty sure they'd already booked that studio space and all, and booked that producer, so they kind of had to go on as a financial move for things. They didn't really have time to stop and mourn the loss of their bandmate, who, from what I could tell, had been there for a while at that point. So, I feel like that's part of the sound that we got on this was just the weight of Tim dying. And I feel like maybe that's part of the reason why it feels the way that it does.
Maybe. Yeah, I mean, that's totally possible, because it just feels this is a hard one for me to really talk about, because it's like there's a lot of stuff going on that I do like. It's just also just a bloated mess in so many parts. And yeah, I mean, I would imagine that if you've got these songs, he probably helped write them, and then you've got somebody else that's sort of like helping perform them, essentially. Like, that's gotta feel very strange. And I will say the bass on this album is pretty good when you can hear it. I feel like the guitars and the vocals take up so much of the space that the rhythm section sort of gets lost. But if you don't have a solid rhythm section with this style of music, the guitars and the vocals get lost. So I do think they're good. And there's a couple parts where the bass does feel a little bit like pushed more forward. It's a little bit more front and center. I think it's good. My ultimate problem with this band, and this is the only album that I have listened to, so maybe if I go pick and choose some other songs and albums, I would get a better feel for this. But they just feel like they don't write very good songs. They got 2 or 3 pieces that they slap together. They do it for 3 to 4 minutes. They call it a song. They move on to the next thing. The whole time that song's going, they're doing a lot of cool, fun, interesting things, but then it just stops and they do it over again. And then they do it over again in a slightly different tempo with a little less screaming or a little more screaming. I don't know. There's only a couple songs that really stood out to me as, oh, this is a little bit different.
This was a hard one for me because going into this, you know, one of the reasons why I said we should do the Dance Gavin Dance album is because I was, you know, along the lines of like, I like Dance Gavin Dance. And then listening to the album in full, it's like, I don't need this much Dance Gavin Dance. But then also at the same time, it's one of the things that I struggled with in this is I feel like there's a lot of places, and I'm going to agree with what you talk about, that it seems like they have several songs and they slap a lot of them together. And that makes me think that a lot of the songs should be shorter than they are. But the entire time I was listening to this, and I say this later in the episode, a lot of times I was listening to this, I was going, I got so much more to go. Like it's almost like I felt tired before the fatigue had set in. And so I feel like that kind of messed up the feeling of the whole thing.
That's why I tried starting it in different places, and it doesn't matter. Like, it doesn't matter where I start it. This is the kind of music that is fatiguing. You know, even if it's not a bunch of screaming the whole time, it never like calms down. Like, even if it's not super heavy, those kind of guitar riffs and those like jazzy, genty licks, they're so busy and chaotic. And especially if you're not like a mathematician or like a scientist with a really like, you know, big brain energy, it just feels like a lot to try to keep up with in your head the entire time the song's going.
All right, so I'll say one more thing before we jump into track listing, because with 18 tracks, we got to knock it out. They did a 4-date tour in the UK, which I don't know if you can call 4 dates a tour, but everything I saw was calling it a tour. But anyway,
when was this?
This was in 2022. It was after this album came out.
Okay.
With Don Brocco headlining, and and Papa Roach.
Weird, but I do remember that tour because I remember thinking, wow, because here's something that we've, you know, maybe not have mentioned on the show. I am a pretty big Don Brocco fan, and we have gone back and forth about doing one of their albums since the beginning of us doing this show, and we just haven't done it for, you know, we'll get around to it at some point. I know they're working on a new album. They're going on an American tour the beginning of next year. And I was like, when I saw that announcement and that Papa Roach was opening for Don Brocco, I was like, damn, these dudes are bigger over there than I thought they were. But yeah. So that's a cool lineup. I would love to see that.
Yeah, I feel like Don Brocco, Dance Gavin Dance, and Papa Roach would be a fun lineup. I feel like Papa Roach now is a lot more along these lines and would fit in more with Dance Gavin Dance and Don Brocco than, let's say, what was it? Infected, or
Infest? Yeah,
Infest. Okay.
When
I'm thinking Sum 41. Does this look infected?
Yes. Back when they were like firmly nu metal. Because what's funny is they still have that nu metal like bounce and groove sometimes, but they're much more in the like radio rock, a little bit more straightforward than they used to be. But then they've gotten there in their old age. Yeah, but then you got a band like Don Brocco, who was very much more like this in the beginning, and they have started to shift into almost a little bit more of a nu metal feel. So it's just funny, like how these bands like take inspiration from each other and then, you know, tour together and do stuff like that. So, and Don Brocco is going to come up again in just a few minutes.
All right, so let's go ahead and talk about the track listing with track 1, Untitled 2. I do appreciate that track 1 is Untitled 2, but I didn't put in the effort to look to see if there was Untitled 1 somewhere.
I'm surprised you're saying you're okay with it, because usually that's the kind of thing that would piss you off.
No, Absolutely, you're right. But for some reason, I just found it entertaining. Yeah. Anyway.
Classical music intro. It lasts for like 30 seconds. There's nothing to say, and we'll never listen to it again.
Yep. I skipped it. I think I listened to this album 4 times all the way through, and I skipped it after the first time. And honestly, with 18-track Journey ahead of us, do we really need this?
No, not even a little bit. No. And it doesn't, right. And I don't feel like it sets you up for anything. Like, it doesn't give you a cool feeling to, like, I think if they would have just started with the next song, the way that song starts, that would have been a fun way to start the album. All
right, so let's move on to it real quick. Track 2, Cream of the Crop.
You keep your ego from exploding. Check yourself and you'll be rolling.
No sleep, I feel dead. Blood me in the world.
This was the 4th single that was released, which I was surprised when I saw it was the 4th single, because I feel like this should have been bumped up, because I do feel like this is a decent song. And I feel like it's one of the better songs of this album. Okay, Nicholas Marsh was a co-writer on it, and I had trouble listening to this song every time for one reason. Macho Man. When he says, like, "You're the cream of the crop."
And there is no doubt about it, yeah, you mean Gene Okerlund. You know that I'm the cream of the crop.
That was in my head the whole time.
Okay, so being fairly unfamiliar with Dance Gavin Dance, I knew Tillian, and I knew what his voice sounded like, and that's about all I knew. When this song started, I was like, that's way more hectic and chaotic than I was anticipating.
Hey, you! Are you sleeping in the woods? Hey, you! Are you sleeping like you should?
And then I was like, what the hell are they saying? And I was like, what am I hearing versus what are they actually saying? So I looked up the lyrics, and I was like, oh, they're saying basically what I think I'm hearing, and this makes no sense whatsoever.
Yeah, so I feel like, for the most part, their lyrics are more phonetic than placed phonetically than
and then sometimes,
but at the same time, I feel like the weight of things like Tim dying, were things that they kind of slipped in, a song about or a line about, things like that.
And I actually like some of the sillier lyrics. That's another thing I will say. I didn't get a chance to watch all the videos for this album, but I did watch a couple.
I didn't watch a single one.
I watched a couple. I like the sense of humor. These guys are obviously kind of funny, and they like to have fun. And so that aspect I wish I felt more of it on the album, but it does come through a few times with some of the lyrics and stuff. So, like, for example, the chorus to this song is, "Hey you, are you sleeping in the woods? Hey you, are you sleeping like you should? Are we pandas on camels or birds in a flock? Are we caricatures? Are we cream of the crop?"
Hey you, are you sleeping in the woods? Hey you, are you sleeping like you should? Are we pandas on camels or birds in a flock? Are we caricatures? Are we cream of the crop?
That's the chorus to your opening song.
Yeah. No, I agree. I mean, like, there is some silliness that definitely comes through, and I feel like the silliness is where I feel like they take advantage of the phonetic nature that's needed for songs, because I feel like they've got certain lines that they want to put in the cream of the crop part of things, because, cream of the crop is, talking about being the best and whatever. And so I feel like it's a song about, wanting to, point out somebody as the best. Cool. But their lyrics don't always point that out. At the same time, I feel like that's where they allow themselves to be kind of silly. And I don't have a problem with that.
And I will say, I genuinely like the lyrics on this song. I think they're fun. And I mean, I'm not going to say this every single song because it will get repetitive, but Tillian's voice is the best part of the song. I mean,
yep, agreed. I like John Mess, but I don't like John Mess as much as he's here.
No, not at all. I could have taken all the John Mess out of this and been totally cool with it. If you're going to have two vocalists, I get the point that they should probably not necessarily be 50-50, but they should share a lot of equal space. But for me, I don't think he's a great screamer. I think Tillian's voice is so huge and so unique that it doesn't need a second vocalist. I get the impression, judging from what we've talked about in that list of past members, this has always been their thing, a pop vocalist and a screamer. So I think they're just trying to keep that going. So I get that. But yeah, without knowing the backstory, without knowing all of that, it just sounds like one dude who is in a complete league of his own with another guy screaming his head off just because.
That's fair. All right, so let's move on and talk about track 3, Synergy, featuring Rob Diamante from Don Brocco.
Fumes, checking my fuse, going for a comet that proves I don't need my motivation. I'm locked in, I'm stocked up,
This was the lead single, and it was released March 24th, 2022. I assumed this is what you meant when Don Brocco was going to come up again.
Yes, I did. I had no idea there was a connection between them. And as soon as I saw his name, I got excited. And I think he's got a great voice. Another guy similar to Tillian in the fact that it is a pop vocal with a very distinct feel. Because where Tillian is very high-pitched, Rob is very low-pitched. And matter of fact, in Don Brocco, the drummer does a lot of singing because he has a much higher registered voice. And we'll get into Don Brocco when we do one of their albums. Right. But anyway, I was excited to see him here.
Okay, so I think it's really funny that you're really jumping on the Rob. I'm gonna go with Rob Brocco. So
yeah, I like that
because I feel like Rob Brocco is maybe a 70s porn star name. Anyway, okay.
I think Don Brocco is.
Yeah, fair. Anyway, all right. So I thought this one was fine. I mean, it was the lead single of it, but I did go and I have things throughout throughout my notes where I did go and I looked to see what people were saying about certain tracks. And so I went to go look to see what I found here. And overall, I felt like what people were saying about this one was that, it kind of had mixed reactions. Some people enjoyed it. Some people didn't really care for it. But most people just felt like the feature didn't add much, and I feel the same.
Yeah, I agree 100%. They did not utilize him nearly enough because I felt like he should have had a second verse. He should have been in the chorus. Like, he should have been... Get rid of mess. Like, if this would have just been Tillian
You want a
Rob,
Tillian solo album. We'll do a Tillian solo album.
Yeah, like, honestly, like, this kind of music is fine. I do enjoy it. And his voice is phenomenal. But it's when they get away from that it just gets weird. And yeah, having Rob here, he's so good. And I actually think if we could have heard Tillian and Rob singing together, his high, Rob's low, together. That's right, I said Rob Lowe. If they would sing together, I think it would be wonderful. But they can't. They got to let Mess get in there and scream his head off the whole time.
I don't know. I feel like Tillian's got such a great, unique voice. Fine. Okay. We're going to establish that early. We already have. Fine. All right. Now, the only part in this song that really jumped out to me was the part where he says, "I'm already dead." And that's Tillian singing that. And it's like, okay, cool.
I'm living life as if I'm already dead.
I think it was Tillian singing that. I don't know. With 18 tracks, it's hard to keep track of what was going on in certain ones. Listening back to it now.
And I will say, for all the shit that I am going to say about Mess as we move forward, I think my favorite thing that he does on this album is at 140, because it's one of the only times where he screams a little bit different. Because at 140 is when he does that like scream rap thing where he's like chugga da chugga da chugga chugga da chugga.
Worship me, worship my stuff. Anyone that can make me a cynical, how many men waited but they couldn't get out? All of the things that...
Right.
And it's like, okay, do some more of that. Because at least that has like a rhythm and like a vibe to it. So much of this is just screaming. It just sounds like your average local band screamer screaming, and it does nothing for me. At least that was unique.
Yep. All right, track 4, Holy Ghost Spirit.
Zooming through the haze, I'll sleep when I'm awake. Ethylene invasions, gone away for days.
And I forgot to mention on the last track, but Louis Baltazar plays guitar on both of those tracks, or this one and the last one, which makes me wonder if you have added a guitar player for this album, why are you having another guitar player come in? I don't know. I don't know if that was somebody had to move to bass or what. I don't know. Anyway, going through the reviews and things that I did to find what people are saying about different ones, this was a standout in a lot of those. A lot of people praised this song. Mm-hmm. And I get it. I feel like it's one of the better songs off of the album, but I didn't love it. I mean, I like the intro guitar.
Okay, so the intro guitar is neat, and then if you listen to a little bit of the guitar underneath Mess's screaming, if you can block that out of your mind, it almost has a little bit of a Finch Say Hello to Sunshine kind of vibe on the guitar and the music, and I like that.
You know, it's funny you say that because I was picking up on something like that, but I couldn't put my finger on it, but go on.
Especially with that da-na-na-na-na-na, like little like line mixed in with the chords.
Go run! I think you'll be given the action! No, dropping the coffin and
Something I didn't mention on the last song that I'll mention on this one. Every song that starts like this, I'm usually not into until around the 30-second mark. Because on most of these songs, at around 30 seconds, he stops and Tillian starts.
Don't expect to ride.
Almost every song that starts with Mess will go on for about 30 seconds, and then Tillian will come in. There's a few songs like Cream of the Crop and a few of the other ones where Tillian is the first vocalist. But on any song that starts with Mess, it's about a 30 to 40 second section, and then Tillian comes in, and I can get into the song more.
It's funny because I have the note that I really, really like Tillian's vocals at 48 seconds.
Yep.
The run that Tillian has there, I think, is fantastic. So, okay.
I agree.
I do really like how we have, you call it genty, I call it jazzy, we'll call it genty jazzy guitar.
Yeah.
I don't know. I feel like there's a really great juxtaposition between the jazzy guitar and the distorted guitar on this one. I feel like they're playing really well together. In fact, that's something I would have really appreciated to hear more on this album. I would have really appreciated if we could have heard that a little bit better, but instead they've decided to put all the synth sounds in, and that just goes back to the modern production style that's happening these days, and fine, whatever.
Well, because to your point, that section from like 105 to around like 133. Where it gets like super chill and jazzy, and it's just like some clean guitar and Tillian's vocals. I really, really like that part. And it's one of my favorite parts of this song.
Through the haze, I'll sleep when I'm awake. Ethylene invasion.
And then Mess comes in and just starts screaming his head off on top of it.
Oh my God,
and it's like, why? Again, it's almost like out of necessity or habit. Not because they want to do it or that they think it sounds good. It's just like what they have to do on their 10th album.
Yeah. I do think that the closing of the song, the outro that they did, with distorted vocals, it's almost like Tillian had distortion put on his vocals to close it out.
Holy Ghost, best that I've had. Holy Ghost, best that I've had.
Now, I don't know if it was Tillian or not. Again, 18 tracks. Looking at my notes now, it's hard to remember certain things. But
It is. And he does. You're absolutely right. They put a little bit of distortion on his voice, but he sings a wonderful melody at the end where he's like, best that I had. Like he does this really cool, like little pop vocal. I think that's really cool. I wish they would have done more of that in the song, but no, they don't.
All right, track 5, For the Jeers.
I'll never fail. I'll never fail. The pressure fuels my breath, and then it burns my lungs. I'll never fail.
I've never liked the word jeers, like jeer, like to celebrate. I don't know. I found on Reddit, somebody said, For the Jeers is a certified banger. I love all the vocals from Andrew. So I feel like we've got a change up in the vocals here. And to be honest with you, I didn't really notice anything different until I came across that. And I was like, okay, well, listen to this a little bit differently. But to be honest with you, I didn't really feel like this was a certified banger. I feel like that Redditor is a big Dance Gavin Dance fan. And, we dealt with some blowback from a Day to Remember fan who was just a fan. And it was
Right.
like, we have no problem with people disagreeing with us, but, tell us why we're wrong or say you were right, but we still like it. That's fine. You can do that. I don't care.
Yeah, and I know we're going to get a ton of that because this is a band that's been around this is their 10th album. They just released one last year, or this year. So they still have a huge fan base. They've gone through a lot of lineup changes and people are still real passionate about them. So
That's fine. Come at me, bro. Come at me.
Yeah, it's fine. It's cool.
I've never claimed to be an expert, but I know what I like.
Right. And that's all we're doing is telling you what we like and what we don't like. And this is the opposite of what I said on the last song. This one starts with Tillian and it's kind of chill and funky, so I like it.
I'll never fail. I'll never fail. The pressure fuels my breath, and then
It's a little longer than 30 seconds before Mess comes in and messes it up, but it's basically the same principle. It is a funky, kind of smooth, chill song for about a minute, and then it gets all synthy and screamy, and I'm a little less into it at that point.
Yeah, so at 3:02, the drums change and the synth gets heavier.
you should give it yours now. Get it well.
And it was like, yeah, I just kind of felt like that was just, like I was saying a second ago, just kind of the modern production style that's happening these days. And that's fine. Okay.
Yeah.
But back up a little bit. At 2:20, everything syncs up. And this is kind of where I'm going to agree with what you were saying earlier, where if they lock into something, and I feel like they locked in, and Tillian sounded so good there at that point.
Yeah.
And I just kind of feel like that is the sweet spot that Dance Gavin Dance should exist in more, and they just don't. And it's very upsetting. I don't know, disappointing. Yeah. Because I want it to be better.
Yeah. And again, another song where I think Tillian is blowing the roof off the place and everybody else is just kind of standing around watching him. I do think this is one of the better ones as far as not as much screaming. I don't know. It makes a little more sense on this one. It feels, the balance feels a little better on this one.
Yeah, I'll agree with you. The balance does feel a little bit better there. But the thing is that when I saw that somebody said that this was a certified banger, I was like, not the whole thing. Like, about half the song is really good. And the other half, I don't really care about because it's 4:11. And I don't feel like the song really gets good until about 2:20.
It's fine. It's not terrible, but I wouldn't call it a certified banger.
No. All right, track 6, Ember. I found somebody that said, Ember has me feeling some sort of way with those instrumentals. Now,
okay, good, because when there's instrumentals and nobody's singing, you don't hear the stupid lyrics about having a cold.
Yeah. I didn't listen. I didn't dive into the lyrics on this one, but
don't
you're probably
worry.
not wrong.
I have them here. I would love to read them to you because,
Then
again,
please.
I was like, am I hearing what I think I'm hearing? So I read the lyrics and was like, oh, I am. And this contradicts what I said earlier about them being kind of funny and silly. This is just kind of dumb. At least it is for me. I don't know. But by the way, in case you're wondering, he screams until about the 32-second mark when Tillian comes in and the music changes and it gets better.
It's really interesting. I never have put that together in anything that I've listened to of theirs, and I'm going to start paying attention to that.
It's literally like the next song is also like right at around 31, 32 seconds. It changes and Tillian comes in. But here's what messes screaming during that opening section. It kicked my ass. I felt so bad. I look like crap. There's no life hack. It's pounding through my temples. It feels like every season.
It kicked my ass, I felt so bad. I look like crap, there's no life hack. It's pounding through my temples. It feels like every season.
My nose is plugged or leaking. Don't ask me out. I'm indoor. We sneeze in Sacramento.
My nose is plugged or leaking. Don't ask me out, I'm indoor. We sneeze in Sacramento.
And then he goes, achoo, achoo, achoo. The pollen you so rude. The mucus I produce is more than just a nuisance. It's abuse.
Achoo, achoo, achoo. The pollen you so round. The mucus I produce is more than just a nuisance. It's abuse.
Achoo, achoo. The pills aren't working, dude. Goggle vision, life in prison. I'm impaired. I can't taste my food.
Achoo, achoo. The pills aren't working, dude. Goggle vision, life in prison. I'm impaired. I can't taste my food.
I'm good. I don't, if you got the flu or Rona or whatever, I'm sorry. Drink some NyQuil and stop screaming at me. Like, I don't need a screamer to scream achoo, achoo, achoo at me. Ever.
I feel like if John Mess is feeling under the weather, he should probably sit down and just let Tillian take over.
Yeah, it's fine. Just let him do it. As a matter of fact, it's kind of fun. After all of the sneezing, they go into this part with Tillian singing where like all the music drops out and there's just this real whimsical little synth line.
Keep it all to yourself. Keep it out of my sight. Hold your tongue and hold tight. Just to prevent a fight. Yeah.
And it reminded me of like walking around a town in like Legend of Zelda. It has this like RPG sound.
So you say that, but I said Tetris. It reminds me of Tetris music.
Something 8-bit, something
Right.
or 16-bit, somewhere in that era. And yeah, I like that part.
I put 104 is fun.
Damage done. Let me back.
It's just a fun little part of the song.
Uh-huh.
But then I put the note down when Tillian says, "Let me back inside."
Let me back inside.
What are we trying to get into? But knowing, and I did not look into the lyrics for this one, but knowing that it's essentially about a cold, and if the cold thing is a metaphor for something else, fine. But let me get back inside. Now I think it's just like maybe when you sniff real hard and snot goes back up. I don't know. I don't know.
So I will say, like 311, I love them, but there are songs where Nick and S.A. are swapping verses, and Nick is singing about one thing, and S.A. is singing about something completely different. And one of the most interesting examples of this is off of Grassroots. They have a song called Offbeat Bare Ass. And Nick's vocals...
Interesting name.
Nick's lyrics are some of the best. He's talking about how the war on drugs may be well-intentioned, but it falls flat when you start talking about people getting these crazy sentences for weed possession and all this stuff. He's talking about dealing with police officers, and it's like thought-provoking and interesting.
Many people would have it, other go out and grab it. Some trip over roots and say, fuck it, I'm sunk. I put it in a limerick and kick the slick Nick verb. I'm a one that scores a herb. When we're on the road, peanut rolls.
Essay's singing about farting on people.
Real cool dude, he didn't believe that day would come when he would get his too. But then one day, right in front of his face, I got him. He looked over and said, goddamn, give me some water. The one time I had it wasted.
And I don't understand, like, this could be two different songs, fellas. Like, we could just totally split this up.
Ever gotten a sentence for farting on somebody?
Dude, he's talking about, like, yeah, like, he's literally talking about, like, sticking a dude's nose in his armpit and stuff, and, like, it's super weird. Like, very weird.
I mean, a fart becomes a problem when it's silent but deadly.
I don't know. Like, I see the lyrics from Nick quoted all the time out of that song because he's got some great stuff. There's literally a part where Essay starts making fart noises into the microphone. And hey,
and you can hear that sound clip right here.
311 doesn't get a pass. I don't want to hear Mess sneezing. I don't want to hear Essay farting. Okay? Both of those things
fair.
don't need to happen.
All right, track 7. Pop off.
Seconds until all the lessons I've learned become ravaged and spent. You're all that I want. You're not what I need, but I have to succumb. You're all that I want.
Exclamation points. Had to say a little bit.
Yeah, thank you.
Pop off. Yeah. All right. So, I don't know. I struggle with this one because in going through and finding stuff, I found where it's people are saying that it's a super high energy song for this album. I guess the most high energy thing is the exclamation point and the title, because this doesn't feel any more high energy than other things. Yeah, I don't know. I saw that it was people are saying it was danceable at times. Moshing type of dancing, I guess.
Well, same thing. It's just a screamy metalcore song until about 30 seconds when it shifts into the Tillian part, and it's smooth and jazzy, and he's singing, and it's kind of fun.
You want my time off. You want it all, though. You got your claws out in cherry.
I feel bad because we're coming down hard on Mess, and I don't know. I kind of struggle with it because it's like I've never been a person that's been like, oh, the screaming is the problem here. But when you've got a vocalist like Tillian, the screaming does become the problem. And I've listened to music because I like the screams that are happening in it and all, and those things do happen. But this, I don't know. Pop off. I don't know. Pop out. Just put on a different album.
Right. No, exactly. Like, I'm with you. I like a lot of screamers too, but I don't particularly like his kind of screaming. And I don't think that this style of music requires that much screaming. And again, like we keep talking about, I understand that every single one of them is problematic, but Johnny Craig, Tyler Carter, Tillian, you don't need a second vocalist when you got a guy like that. You just don't. And if you have one, they need to be impressive in what they do. As much as I liked Michael Bond on those first couple Issues albums, he was never on the same level as Tyler Carter. He could not scream at the level Tyler Carter could sing. It was never going to be even. So I would much rather have a guy that could rap or a guy that could just do something other than just scream. I don't know. Yeah, pop off. Nah, I'm good.
I like the chorus on this one. The chorus is good here.
You think you're superior? Everyone's affected bad blood. Always bad blood.
And the guitar and drums, the way they work together at 139 is nice. But outside of that, I don't, yeah, it's fine. All right, track 8, One Man's Cringe.
Move on. There's somebody out there living in despair, needing the words to the
I kind of felt something in the title of this one where I was like, I feel like this is a song about me because I'm cringing a lot at this album. So, all right. I found where somebody said, I think it was also on Reddit. I didn't put a note down at that one, but I said, I listened to One Man's Cringe 4 times before moving on. I could not get enough. I feel like it was good, but I don't know. This is where I realized in listening through it with intention for the first time that I really like Tillian's voice better than Mess's. And it was like, okay, so all that we've been talking about Mess, it's like, this is when listening to it with intention, I was going, I don't need him here. I don't know. When you've got math rock guitars, you can't overstuff a track because your guitar work is already so damn busy that I don't know. Jackpot Juicer. They're trying to juice as much as they can out of it.
I mean, that's why Chon, Animals as Leaders, Polyphia, they're all instrumental bands. Like, they bring in a vocalist for a track or two here or there, but they are instrumental bands because they are so busy with the guitars and the instrumentation that the vocals will complicate things to a point where it becomes kind of like this, almost too much. And so on this song, same thing. It goes on with him screaming for about, I don't know, maybe 20 seconds. Then Tillian does come in, but it's around the 30-second mark when the music like drops out and it's just Tillian and it's real soft and sweet again.
I'll never change your mind.
And I like it. And don't get me wrong, if there's not a bit of that heaviness, when it is that sparse and clean, that would also get boring because you would hear it constantly. You need the dynamics. But these guys are stupid talented. There's more dynamics than just start with distorted guitars and screaming and then go into a clean vocal. Like, there's other things you guys could be doing. And so far, we haven't seen much of it.
Right. Okay. I do love the guitar at 213 on here.
Yep. I've got the same exact note. Yep.
And I do really enjoy the bridge on this one. But honestly, outside of that, 3:43 for the song, there's not a lot outside of that I was really impressed by on any level.
If all of these songs were between like 2 and 3 minutes, and this album was like 45 minutes, 50 minutes, I think I would be a little bit more into it because it'd be like, yeah, these songs are chaotic and all over the place, but they're in and out in 2 minutes, 2:15. It's like,
right.
That makes me want to go back and listen to it 3 or 4 more times. But if it's going to go on for 4 minutes, no, I'm not listening to this 4 times. I'll get back to it when I get back to it.
All right, track 9, Feels Bad, Man.
Another night. Should you live with your regrets or just get high?
Feels bad, man, the up and down.
So I have the note here that this is the 5th and final single. It was released July 28th, and I realized I did not take notes of all the singles because I told you what like the 1st and 4th one was, and then
It's 18 songs, buddy. It's we're doing the best we can here.
Right. Okay, so I feel like the intro sounds that we got here felt like the final stage for a fighting game.
I like this one a lot at first because it does come in very different and we're having a good time. I like the music. I like that it's funky. And then around 48 seconds, I think it is, Mess comes in and the music doesn't change. It's still super chill. Feels like we're like at a club or at a pool. Everybody's having a good time. So let's just scream on top of it.
Should you live with your regrets or just get high?
Feels bad, man, the up and down and the emotion.
I feel like that's what the music video for this one is. I would see the things on Spotify, the sidebar with the video and whatnot.
Yep. And I think that's appropriate, but I don't understand. Like, there's a reason. I'm sorry to keep bringing him up, dude, but there's a reason Maroon 5 was on the radio, because they didn't do the screaming over the chill, funky dance parts. Like, I don't get it, man.
Okay, so I think that Dance Gavin Dance doesn't have the desire to be on the radio like Maroon 5 is, but I actually like the melody of the unclean vocals in this song.
Feels mad, the up and down and the emotion broke my loud hands. Place my legs with sleeping bags. They make me smoke 50 grams.
Not the whole time, more in the chorus than anywhere else, but I do like the melody that he has. And I thought that it was cool. I feel like they kind of stepped outside of their just, him barking harsh vocals.
Yeah, I give you that. I do think he has a little bit of melody when he screams, and I do appreciate that. But it's still not great. Like, it's good, it's fine, but I would still rather just hear Tillian singing than him screaming in any kind of tone.
But like you said before, if it was all Tillian, it would get boring. So, throw in some of the harsh.
I didn't say if it was all Tillian I would get bored. I was saying that if it just stayed quiet and chill and you didn't have the aggressive parts, it would. But Tillian can
rewind
still...
the tape. We don't do
Go
this on tape.
ahead.
Okay.
Yeah, go ahead. I didn't say, I think this band would be fine with just Tillian. I don't think... Tillian's got range. He can do... He's got a gruffness to his voice sometimes. I totally think he could carry this band without a screamer. I just think that...
Well, he can't because now he's out.
Well, no, of course. What I was saying on that particular song before was, if it just started with it being super chill and just his vocal, yeah, too much of that would get old. So I appreciate them having the heavy riff at the beginning, but you don't need the same kind of heavy riff with the same screamed vocal on top of it for the same length of time before the pretty part starts every other song. So that's why I like the way this one starts so much. I would have been fine without the screaming over the chill verses.
So I do feel like this one was probably the most post-hardcore funky track that we got on this album.
Yeah, this is the most Jonas Brothers on steroids song, I think.
All right, so let's talk about track 10, Die Another Day. I meant to, and I did not, and I'm really sad that I did not. Did you go and read the lyrics to this song?
No.
Okay, I meant to because my first note is, if this has anything to do with the worst Bond movie ever, I'm out.
Oh, I bet it does.
If this has anything to do with it, then my score is about to drop.
Without ever seeing that movie, I doubt it. Because this doesn't seem to be that way. However, speaking of the lyrics, I'm sure you at least recognized when he sings the word crucible. And I do like the way he sings the word crucible.
In the crucible.
I always think it's funny when we pick out one word that somebody sings a certain way. Anyway, okay, so the drum work is good here.
Well, okay, so this is the opposite. This starts off pretty cool for about 33, 34 seconds, and then it goes into... And it's like, okay, you got two speeds. It's either quiet and chill or just screaming your head off. And it's like...
Well, they go 10 or 80.
Yeah, and it's always for 30-second chunks. It's so weird that it's like...
It's an endurance problem.
Yes, yeah.
But they could do it for 18 tracks, so...
Isn't that something? That should be studied. So, okay, so there is some cool work on the guitar that starts around, I want to say, 58 seconds or so. Just these cool little real fast little lead licks that are fun. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I
just
said I
more
really
of
like the guitar
same.
work around 1 minute. Then at 140, I do not know how he plays the snare like that without having to replace the snare head each time.
Out of everything going on in that section, I think the drums are one of the better parts.
So Tillian does a great job here. But then old John Mess shows up at 2:13 and his dirty vocals are alarming. It's not even like what we've done before and expecting John Mess to come in and do his thing, whatever. That was the one place on this entire album where I was like, I absolutely hate everything you're doing.
I have in my notes 213 to 232. Yuck.
Yeah, because then at 232 it becomes a new song.
Safe sound on the other side. Back to
Right. And that there's this little section right in there that I think is pretty cool. It kind of goes out on this like real nasty dissonant outro. That I kind of could have done without, but the section before it gets really dissonant, I liked.
It's been a minute, we don't obey. It's all a game. There's no give and take, there's no give and take, there's no time break.
Yep. That's something I started picking up at this point is that they have a tendency to just make their songs a little bit too long. Like if this one had cut out, had come to a close at 2:32, I would have been fine with it. I would have probably liked this song more than I did. But, yeah, I don't know. Track 11, Two Secret Weapons.
Take me to Nirvana and make everybody stop and stare. Beauty panoramic, come on and give it to me deep as the Atlantic. I got a medic.
So I guess they decided that there's like this album is just where they're going to have fight game intros. Because the intro of this one sounds the same thing. It sounds like an 8-bit version of Aqualung.
A little bit. This, again, they are so talented and they can do so many dynamic things, but they keep doing the same things, you know? It doesn't get as repetitive on a 10, 11, 12 track album, but when you're going to do it for an hour and some change, people are going to notice. What I do appreciate about this song, though, is if more songs were like this, I would like this album way more. Because this is basically just a Tillian song until like near the very end when John comes in. And it's kind of like, yeah, okay, so you've kind of been building this song, and then you kind of smash out the outro. Okay, that's cool. At no point was I thinking, God, I really wish Mess would come in here and just scream on top of this funky groove. That would make me happy.
And I'll tell you where the change happens. At 2:34. When we get
when the
skipping.
CD skips.
Right. I actually put the note down. Did your CD skip too?
Yeah, I like that part a lot. And again, I'm sorry. I know this is going to piss you off. I know you're getting sick of this. I don't care. This right here, until it gets like super wacky, sounds like an old Maroon 5 song, and it makes me very happy.
It doesn't piss me off. It just frustrates you because I feel like at one point, I feel like we've gone through phases on this show where you just have a different band that you bring up constantly. It's like it was 311 and then it turned into Issues, and now it's like your Issues are bleeding into Maroon 5, and
I just call him as I sees him. Okay, he might not admit it, but there is not a world where Tillian exists if Adam Levine doesn't also exist. because they are very, very similar vocalists.
All right, so track 11, The Fatigue Has Set In, which is about where fatigue would set in on a 13, 14 track album that we've done. It's like at 11, I'm like, all right, I'm good. I don't need to keep going. Like I'm tired. I don't want to hear this anymore. Like I wanted to take a break, but I was like, damn, we're track 11. We're going to 18. I don't have time to take a break.
We basically have a whole other album left of music to go through.
We do. All right, so let's move on and talk about track 12, Polka Dot Dobbins. I'm going to ask you a question before we go any further. What's a dobbin?
I do not know. I was
going to say, if you don't know, just
yeah, I'm just going to say no. I don't know.
Yeah. I'm not going to Google it because I am going to look to any of our 4 listeners and say, if you know what a dobbin is, send us an email, breakdownsbreakfast@gmail.com, and let me know what a dobbin is. And don't tell me the thing from Harry Potter.
No, that's okay. Dobby.
I know it's Dobby. Anyway, so I did come across where this is a fan favorite because of its groove.
This one starts kind of similarly with a lot of heavy guitars, some screaming. Tillian is singing as well. It's kind of heavy.
I got a drill driver with a blow shocker and a big flat knee. It's a small.
But then around 43 seconds, it shifts into kind of something like Two Secret Weapons or Feels Bad Man, where you have that sort of funky bass, little bit of a dancier groove. And I like that. I do like that section of the song.
I do feel like the bass is great here. I feel like the bass is better as we go further into the album, which I thought was an interesting thing. Okay, so the only thing that really stuck out to me is the way that he says whoosh, 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 whoosh.
Yeah, that is kind of weird.
Yeah, that does get stuck in my head. But outside of that, I do feel like this is more of a funky track as far as the bass goes. Like I said, the bass does get better as we go on. But I don't know. Polka Dot Dobbins, I'm done. I don't care.
It's all right. Yeah, I mean, it's just more of the same. It's does a lot of the same things that all the other songs do. So
yep. So track 13, Long Nights in Jail.
Ask for your permission. Denim jacket, how's the rabbit taste on your
This is mostly a Tillian song, so
Yep.
naturally it's better.
Yep.
But I did find, and I wanted to put this in because I thought it was funny. Somebody on, I think it was Reddit, I'm not sure, I didn't put a note of that, said, Long Nights in Jail is a certified ass shaker.
I'm assuming it's the same person who said certified banger.
Maybe. I don't know, but I don't know if I'd agree with it's an ass shaker. I mean, I think it's fine. I think it's a better song than other ones we got because it is more of a Tillian song.
Yeah, so this one definitely has a fun groove and it is dancey. I would say out of all the songs, this one is closest to like a Gold Necklace Andreas kind of thing. So I do like this one a little bit better. But it features possibly my least favorite, most hated Mess performance. Because I get that he's trying to scream with some melody, but when he comes in, he does this like rah 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 rah. It's like, shut the hell up, dude. Stop.
So, I don't remember him screaming Jingle Bells because
That's what
the
it
rhythm.
sounds like.
So there was something about this song that ruined this song for me, and it's when Tillian sings Copacetic, because then it just made me think of Local H.
It's It's funny that you would say Local H because my brain goes to 311, but you're right. Because Local H, when they said copacetic, it was like the main word of the song. 311 just uses that word in a few songs here or there. And
Yeah,
it's
and
a
that-
cool
and
word
I-
that should be used more often.
The way that Local H says copacetic in that song, I feel like the song should be called copacetic, but I think it's called like On the Floor or something.
Yeah, but no, you're absolutely right. I think that's one of the songs that when I was a kid, I was like, what is that song? The copacetic song.
Yeah. All right, track 14, Back on Deck.
Can't wait till you're here.
So I have Sergio Medina plays guitar on this one. Again, why are you adding another guitar player? Is it because somebody had to move to bass? I don't know. But I did put down the note that I don't understand the guitar tone on this song. It sounds like he's playing a wire underwater, which I understand a guitar is essentially just playing wires anyway, but I don't know. I don't feel like this one got good until the last half of the song. I don't feel like it got good until about, 208 because we got a new guitar.
We have the exact same notes, like word for word. Like I was like, this one's okay, but this guitar tone is super weird and warbly. Another thing we haven't talked about is if you listen to this album on headphones, it is both interesting and tiresome because
It is. It's exhausting.
things are panned hard left and hard right, and it's like it would literally be one of those experiences where if you just took one of your headphones off, you would hear like almost a completely different sounding song because it is so.
That might be an interesting experiment.
I will not do that. I am not.
No, I'm not
coming
gonna do it
back
either,
to this
but-
for that.
Yeah, I'm not going to do either, but that would be an interesting experiment to do. It's like, just at least do earbuds. You got to just take one out entirely.
Yeah, that's
And then
probably a safer bet.
Just kind of listen through. And I wonder if there's times where, Tillian and John's vocals are panned all the way to one side. And I don't know.
You might have brought me back into the idea. You might have just sold me
Okay.
on it. I might come
Okay.
back to it. But yeah, I agree. And then at
That's-
209,
Yeah.
yeah, and then at 209, you get like the little stutter guitar. The music changes a little bit, and I like it. But then he just starts screaming again. And when he starts screaming, it does not add anything to me. And it makes, usually if I'm enjoying something, it makes me enjoy it less. So.
I don't know. It's funny because it's like when Tillian is singing, there's things musically happening that I don't necessarily care about, but when Mess is screaming, there's more musical things that I care about. And it's just an interesting change up. And it's not always like that, but it's just that happens more on this album than
As fans of heavy metal music, obviously when the guitars are chuggy,
the guitars.
the guitars are
When the
chuggy.
when the guitars are plurn.
Right. When that is happening, obviously we like that kind of music and we like screaming on top of some of that. But it's just the way he's screaming. And some of these songs feel like they don't need screaming and they don't even need those chuggy heavy parts. They're just, again, they feel like they're stuck just doing this because they're supposed to. Whereas you could just do a 3-minute song that is just Tillian being funky and dancy. And then you could do another song where it's just John screaming his head off for 3 minutes. Issues had songs with just one of the vocalists. 311 do songs with just one of the vocalists. That's okay. You can do that. The other guy can take a pee break. Like, it's cool. It's fine.
Yeah. Yeah, actually, I feel like it'd be smart to have songs like that so vocalists can go take a pee break during a show.
Yeah, I mean, this feels like it's trying to be like so balanced that it like messes up the songwriting.
Yeah. All right, track 15, Current Events.
Same fears that live in the tissue of my prototype. Talking heads, fuck the feds. So well read.
My first note on this track is, do we need more album?
especially with another song that starts the exact same way, with a bunch of chugs and weird, like, jazzy, djenty, like, lead licks and screaming, and it's like, we've gotten to the part of the album where I have to hit play on every song because I do not know what it sounds like without listening to it at that very moment, because it all sounds the same.
Yeah. I'm gonna be honest, like, okay, so I did find that somebody on, I wish I wrote down the notes of where I pulled all these things from, but I just found somebody said Current Events is so damn good, it deserves to be listened to multiple times, and I do not feel the same way. I do not share those feelings. I found things online that do not reflect my feelings of this album. I feel like it's a good song. I have the note of, at 16 seconds, that is hard to maintain as long as he does, and it stops at 59 seconds, and I do not remember what he did there. I feel like that was maybe Mess screaming as long as he did. Or no, sorry. So they're doing a hammer-on the guitar, and that is hard to maintain for as long as he does.
As a guitar player, I know what he's doing, and it's not easy. It's not easy by any means, but I do also think it's a little bit more complicated. It sounds more complicated than it really is, but he does move it around. It's not like he starts off in one place and then he kind of shifts it to a couple different parts on the neck to keep it a little interesting. But you're absolutely right. Like, it sounds really cool and it sounds really impressive, and it keeps going. The only part of this song that really stood out to me.
Hold on.
Okay.
So that thing alone is what got Eddie Van Halen to be the guitar person that he is.
Well, these guys are...
more came out of that, but I mean, these guys are up there with him and all, and the thing about it is, like, Eddie Van Halen set a bar, and then all these other people, like, started, like, doing things similar, and so I feel like they could play things on par with what Eddie Van Halen did earlier in his career, because I do feel like he became, like, I don't know, I feel like he went Super Saiyan at one point, but...
Okay, this is a conversation for another day, but...
All right.
I will
tracks on album.
Yeah, but I do have to address one thing, because I do find, as a guitar player, I find this extremely interesting, this argument that people have made, very similar to what you just made. Guitar playing, specifically lead guitar, virtuoso, guitar wanking, whatever you want to call it, has shifted so dramatically from, like, the 80s hair metal rock and roll stuff to this djenty, jazzy kind of stuff here. And yes, I sincerely believe that these dudes are playing at a high level that most guitar players will never, ever reach. But
similar to a marionette guys playing guitar.
Absolutely. But it's like, could Eddie Van Halen play guitar like this? I don't know. We never heard him play it. But because back in those days, nobody thought to play the guitar like this. Like, This is like this new thing that has only been around for, like, don't get me wrong, there has been crazy jazzy fingerstyle guitar players since the guitar was invented. That's not what I'm saying. But this specific brand of rock music with this kind of guitar work is such a new thing that it's like, it's hard to listen to a Jimmy Page or a Jimi Hendrix or an Eric Clapton and go, oh my God, that's incredible. Because track 15 on this Dance Gavin Dance album has a guitar player going, right. And I think that's almost a plus and a minus to the future of guitars, because if I'm like 6, 7, 8 years old and I'm wanting to pick up a guitar and I hear this, it's either going to discourage the hell out of me because I can't do that, or it's going to make me go, wow, I got to work really, really hard, and I become better than I've ever become. Instead, I was growing up listening to Green Day, and you know what I mean? So I learned power chords and how to, like, write punk songs and rock songs and stuff. So it's just wild to me. That's a huge guitar debate I've had with some of my buddies who also play guitar. But anyway, we got to go on. There's like 9 more songs.
No, there's only like 3. But anyway.
There's 3 too many. Let's go.
All right. Track 16, Pray to God for Your Mother.
Always wonder when you go to come to terms with the painful truth. Pray to God that we make it through. Pray to God for your mother.
Okay, so listeners, we are actually recording a Saturday evening, which is way outside of the norm for us, which, I think the episode before this we did Friday evening. So we're just moving on into the week. I don't know. And so I think, okay, this is November 1st, a day after Halloween. And so we did have to delay a couple of days just because we had Halloween festivities.
Yeah.
It was spooky.
Whoa.
Yeah. So I really honestly stopped at 15. And I was like, okay, Monster wants to wait a couple of days to record because of Halloween things. Fine. I'll knock these out, these last couple tracks out the next couple of days or today or whatever. But I didn't until earlier today. and so it was like, I went back to this going, okay, I sat down to listen to this album again or listen to these last couple tracks and went, I don't want to, I don't care. And so I actually put it on while I was kind of just reading through some other stuff. And, so it was kind of in the back of my head. So the rest of these tracks are not like full attention notes. So with this track, I have a few notes. And to be honest with you, I can't even tell you what the song sounded like for these notes. But the high-pitched guitar intro on this one, I do specifically remember, is nice. I like it. But they keep that high-pitched guitar going on for too long at the song. And I really feel like they should have faded it out or let it go on to something else.
So this is another one that I kind of like a little bit better because it does have a little bit of a funkier vibe. It is mostly Tillian. But what's interesting is when Mess comes in, there's a couple parts where the first time it happens is at like 102. They kind of sing together, like Tillian is singing and Mess is screaming.
Part of me wants to believe that I will not come apart at the seams. That I will learn from the cut when I bleed. That I would take of a goddamn machine.
And it's like, why haven't we been doing more of this? At least this is something a little bit different. Yes, there's parts where they're singing and screaming at the same time, but this one has a better, I don't know. The play between the two of them just works better for me here. And again, I don't really know really what's going on with the lyrics. I just really don't. I didn't pay that much attention to them. But as we've talked about on the show before, my mom died a few years ago, and it was in September. And like you said, we're listening to this in October. We're recording this the day after Halloween. So like this time of year, especially with like Thanksgiving and Christmas coming up, think about you having your mom around or, in your case, your dad around, And so for me, when I would hear that line, pray to God for your mother.
Pray to God for your mother.
Because I like the music on this one a little bit better. I don't know what the hell he's singing about, but it made me think of my mom for a second, and I like this one better. It's bullshit that it's track 16. Like that's stupid.
Yeah. No, I did end up liking this one better. Okay, so I do have the note about them screaming and singing at the same time, and I like that. I do like the chorus on this one.
Yeah.
But I just don't like where they stopped doing that, where Tillian stopped, and then it just became Mess after that. And
yes.
it's almost like if they had flipped that to where it's like, Mess is singing with Tillian or screaming with Tillian, and then Tillian finishes out clean. Okay. Or if they just kind of finished it out with Tillian singing, but then, Mess comes in and screams the last couple words. Fine. But that's kind of ruined it for me. But
it goes on way too long.
It does. That's the last thing I have on here is they should have ended this around 2 minutes because we get that vocal at 153 on tap out on both sides. And it's kind of, I think it bounced back and forth, but it's like, I think that would have been a great place to close it out, but they had to keep going to 3:49. And once again, I feel like the track lengths here are an issue, but okay, cool.
I could almost, like we said a few minutes ago, I could almost deal with 18 tracks if they were in the 2 to 3 minute range. Bringing it back to mindless self-indulgence, if I got to pick and I said which mindless self-indulgence album, I would say Frankenstein Girls Seem Strangely Sexy. And you would want to murder me because it's 30 tracks long.
Yep.
But
I have actually refused to that album. So if anybody wants to listen to Monster talk about that album by himself, you're more than welcome to let us know. But I will not be doing that with them because I'm not doing an album that long.
that could be a Patreon exclusive. I will rant and rave about a 30 track album. However, at 30 tracks, it's still about 15 minutes shorter than this album. I don't think it passes the hour mark.
I don't know. But I do know that we're going to talk about track 17, Swallowed by Eternity.
Goddamn miracle that I got this far. It's a goddamn miracle that I got this far.
Let me tell you what I have written in my notes for this song. You ready?
Cool, because I don't have a lot of notes for this one.
Here's what I have written. This song sucks.
Okay.
What you got?
I just said, this might be the best vocal performance that I hated the most. Yep.
What?
I just remember listening to it going like, this, like, the vocals sound good here, but I hate everything that's happening.
Okay, I do have, hold on. It does say, I do have the note too that I like the music at 2:05. I just wish the vocals did something better.
I feel like this was, okay, the other note I have here is this sounds like 3 songs they smashed into one. And I do specifically remember listening to this one going, why is this changed? Why is this? I need to take note of where the changes were because it seemed like it was just like every, I don't know, like 30 seconds of 5 minutes, 4 seconds. Why the hell do you need a 5-minute song on your album? But, especially a 5-minute song that does nothing except change into 3 different songs.
Yeah. And this one's extra super screamy. Like it's mostly screaming. And yeah, this is especially at this late in a very chaotic, noisy album. Like it's just too much. And in case you were wondering, that Mindless Self-Indulgence album, Frankenstein Girls, is 30 songs, 54 minutes and 22 seconds. So yeah, it's almost a full.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're going to do it. It'll be all right. We'll get to it.
Track 18. Let's close it out. Last
Yes,
track.
please.
Track 18. Have a great life.
I need to find a way out. There's only one. Code red. Every time I need a person I can trust.
Which coincidentally is the name of the new show. It's only going to have 1 episode and it's going to be saying goodbye. All right. So I feel like this was a wrap-up song. I feel like this was a okay closer to the album that really should have been bumped way up and ended a lot sooner. But I also just felt like it was too long. I'm completely burnt out at this point.
Yeah. It didn't at 125. The music changes a little bit, and it gets like you have this kind of like synthy, fun guitar stuff. I like that, but then he's just screaming on top of it, and I don't think his screams are that great.
Okay,
I don't know. It just sounds like the rest of the album.
Okay, yeah, I have that. I like the way the song felt up until 46 seconds.
Pleading with myself to never give in again.
And then it changes into what feels like the rest of the album.
Yep.
But then, what'd you say? At
At about 125.
125. Yes, I know what you're talking about because I put, at one point it does start to feel different musically, but vocally it still sounds the same with Mess doing what he's doing.
Yep.
But then at 2:30, it starts to feel like an ending. But then they don't let it end because then they have to just tack on some extra and take it to 3:48. And I feel like if they had just brought it down to a close at 2:30, it would have just really felt like a closing to the song, closing to this long ass album.
Yep.
And fine. But I feel like from about 46 seconds to about 152, it just feels like the rest of the album. And then at 152, we do get a different feeling in the music, but then it just, 2:30 again would have been a great closing. And after that, I just did not care about anything that was going on. In fact, I cannot tell you anything else that was going on because I kind of checked out at that point.
Now, for any Dance Gavin Dance fans out there that are listening to us talk about this album and you're just screaming at us because we don't get it, we're wrong, all that, totally cool. You're welcome to that opinion. Just like
thank you for listening.
Welcome. Yeah, exactly. And we're welcome to have our opinion, even if it's wrong, according to you. And that's cool. I'm wondering if, and I wouldn't know, you would know better than I would. Is this like an outlier album? Is this like one of their most popular, or is this one that's like the weird one people aren't all into? Or is this pretty much Dance Gavin Dance? Like, is this pretty much what they are?
To be honest with you, I have not really been a big Dance Gavin Dance fan for a long time. Like I said before, I have just kind of picked the tracks that I liked or whatever, like Blue Dream.
Let it out, let it out, let it out. Place the blame on my hand.
Great song. God, there's a few other ones that I really like, but this is the first album that I've really listened to all the way through.
Like,
And
is there one with one with Tillian doing the clean and a different guy doing the screams?
No, I think John Mess has always been there. I don't know.
Oh, okay. Well, if he is the screamer,
we know Tillian's
period,
always been there.
Right. I know that, but I was thinking, like, if it was Tillian with a different kind of screamer, I might be more into it. I mean, I like Johnny Craig and Kurt Travis as well. Maybe I should check out one of those albums. But again, Tillian's voice is my favorite part. Like, even as a guitar player, like, I think Tillian's voice is what shines the most here.
Hang on a second. I should have looked this up before we started recording, but as far as John Mess being in the band, so he was in from 2005, 2008, and then left, I guess, and then 2010 to now. So he's been there kind of from the start.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think Mess is a hurdle for me, and I'm not saying that I won't listen to more, but this album, well, it didn't give me the greatest first impression.
Yeah. All right. Monster, let me ask you a question. What's new with you?
Hey, hey, good looking. What you got? Cooking.
I am going to say Synergy.
Let it come through, desperate for some motivation.
If only for at 140 when Mess does the scream rap, because this is about as far from a new metal album as Vanessa Carlton, as far as I'm concerned. There is nothing. There are some, like, quote unquote funky, like, grooves here or there, but it's always played for, like, as chill as possible. There's never a part where the guitars are, like, chuggy and you've got, like, a bouncy groove. Like, it never happens. So Synergy, because why not? And Danger, what's cooking?
So, I don't know. It was kind of a hard one on this one because it is so chaotic and you don't want something super chaotic in the kitchen, but I don't know. I feel like Feels Bad Man was probably the best song to cook to off of this one.
It's one of my favorites.
Yeah. I didn't just pick it because it's one of the better ones off of this album, but I just felt like it was better to cook to. So anyway, I feel like my closing statement is a bit more lengthy than I normally do. So, would you like to go first?
This is weird because mine is definitely more lengthy than it normally is as well. So I feel like we've really synced up again. Like,
Yeah, it was
like
time.
back in our sorority days.
Yeah.
All right, but I'll go first. That's fine.
All right, have at it.
All right. What's the name of this album?
Jackpot Juicer by Dance Gavin Dance.
It's Jackpot Juicier.
Jackpot Juicer, not juicier, Jackpot Juicer.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Cool.
Juicer, yeah. I've said juicier several times. I was corrected by the lady on multiple occasions. And so, yes, it's Jackpot Juicer.
Because I just realized earlier I thought it was Jukebox Juicer.
No, it's Jackpot Juicer.
This is outrageous. Okay. Let me.
But I like
now that-
Jukebox Juicer. Okay.
I like Jukebox Juicer way better. I like Jukebox Juicier. That's what it should be.
Well, if you ever put an album, you can call it that. Anyway, go on.
All right. Jackpot Juicer by Dance Gavin Dance is a tough one for me to score. I like a lot of what these guys are doing. They are very talented. The guitarists have killer chops. Tillian's voice is stunning, and they do have a unique sound. Problem is, the songs in general just don't really do it for me. After a few songs, they all start to run together. And when you've got 18 of them, after a while, it all just sounds like one long song. I do like that song, but only to an extent. While I love Tillian's voice, I find Messes to be exactly that, a mess. And while the musicians in this band are technically very proficient, and proficiently very technical, they do very similar licks and progressions on a lot of these songs. And that makes every song just about sound like a slightly different take on the same basic song. Somehow these songs have a lot going on, but still lack dynamics. It's a weird predicament. I want to like this more than I do, and a few of these songs do stick with me a little better than others. But as a whole album, this is an endurance test. If I was scoring this based on how talented these dudes are, I'd probably be in the high 7s. If I was basing it on how much I like the individual songs and overall appeal of the album, I'd probably be in the mid 4s. So I'll split the difference and come in somewhere in the middle. 1 to 10, I said 5.96.
I was actually expecting you to go lower on that, but okay.
Yeah,
cool.
It's one of those things that with 18 songs, if I'm really thinking about it, I can honestly say, okay, I like the verses of this one. Give it a little bit of points. I like the chorus of this one. I like Tillian's voice. There's enough little pieces out of 18 songs that add up to around this. I honestly, personally feel like I'm trying to balance how good these guys are versus how much I particularly enjoy listening to it. Because honestly, if it's just my ears, yeah, I would probably be more in the low 5s. But I'm also trying to acknowledge the fact that Tillian is a special kind of singer. These guitar players are way out of most people's leagues. These dudes are so good. Mm-hmm. It's just, I just don't know that the songs are there. So anyway, that's why my justification. So Danger, give us your closing statements.
I don't care who you are. 18 tracks is too long for a single album. A few examples to look to on this topic. The Smashing Pumpkins put out Melancholy Infinite Sadness, and it was 2 discs, 14 tracks each. Oasis put out Familiar to Millions, and that was 2 discs, 10 on one, 8 on the other. Arcade Fire even released Reflecto, that was a triple album, and only 2 of those had 7 tracks. Bob Dylan put out 4 double albums, and while Bob Dylan sucks, even he knew when too much was too much. What I'm getting at here is that when making an album that is partially written when a member of your band dies, songs are going to carry a weight and have a different tone. As a band, you are going to feel the need to include more of what that member gave and passed on to that album, but know when to pull some of that back. I know that in the age of streaming, a double album isn't the same thing as it was before. So shorten the track listing and put out 2 albums close together. Problem solved. 18 tracks will give anyone fatigue and hurt the last half of your album, and no one is going to hear it the way that you intended. Especially if you put the things that member who died further back in the album, because I feel like the bass was a lot better as we got further into the album. The album offers many places to pick up for any new fan, with heavier songs, pop-leaning moments, and some experimental grooves here and there. Musically, this album is very interesting, and that's why I want to listen to the instrumental version of it. Tillian has a voice that I generally enjoy, and Mess is good, but misplaced in way too many times. But no matter where I am in this album, I just keep thinking about how much more I had to go, and overall, that hurt the whole experience. 1 to 10? As you, 1 to 10. I gave this a 5.71.
Well, we were very, very close there.
Yep. I think this is the first time that I brought an album to the table and you actually scored it higher than I did.
Well, you sort of brought it. It was a request. I don't know that we would have done a Dance Gavin Dance album. I mean, maybe organically eventually, but, you know.
Right. All right. So Monster gave Dance Gavin Dance Jackpot Juicer, not Juicier, Jackpot Juicer.
Or Jukebox.
Jukebox, yeah.
Juice Box.
All right. So Monster gave it a 5.96 and I gave it a 5.71, which puts it into the 77th position, just above Dayseeker and just below The Bunny the Bear.
Yes, that's a tour that would 100% happen, could happen. Hell, it could happen today. And
it may have already happened.
Yeah, and my ass is not going. I will be somewhere else. I would be, dude, any one of these bands live for 25 minutes, I'm going to need to, like, take a break and sit down. Like, I don't know that I could sit through all 3 of those bands.
No, I don't think I could for The Bunny the Bear, Dance Gavin Dance, but I have seen Dayseeker multiple times. I will see them again. And I still think that you should see them live, but the tickets are way too much to just go to see.
Well, what I will say that I thought was pretty interesting was just a couple weeks ago, In This Moment played at the Greensboro Coliseum. Sorry, everybody. Greensboro Coliseum complex. There's a bunch of different places, and they have this one section called Piedmont Hall that holds like 2,000 to 3,000 people, and they get a lot of like mid-level, like nationals. I guess a little bigger than mid-level, but In This Moment on their tour, that's where they played, and Dayseeker is the opener for that tour. Could you imagine Dayseeker opening for In This Moment? That's wild.
No, especially knowing Dayseeker's set that they do and how they do things. No.
Yeah. So that if I was ever going to see Dayseeker live, it would be in a situation like that where they're opening for a band that I do really like.
All right. So if you disagree with the score that we have given this album, then please shoot us an email at breakdownsbreakfast@gmail.com or head on over to one of our social media platforms, Facebook, X, or Instagram, and let us know what you thought about this episode. Let us know what album you think we should give the breakdowns treatment to.
Yes, 13 Pirates, thank you so much for sending us in some requests. We are going to do a Mindless Self-Indulgence album. Don't you worry your pretty little head. We will get to it, whether Danger likes it or not. Speaking of which, Danger, what do you call Dance Gavin Dance after eating a really big meal after a show?
What?
Rest, Gavin, rest.